Hello everybody and welcome to Vex Tutorials. This is Zealous and today I'm going to be bringing you a manipulation tutorial. There are a few things you want to go ahead and check for when you're making a manipulation. Today I'm going to be manipulating Candace Accola onto this chick from Witches of the East End just because her dress is pretty and I like the background, and it'd be easier to manipulate this rather than try to make a picture of Candace Accola with this background. The first thing you want to do when you're manipulating is make sure you can find a picture of the person you're trying to put onto this picture with their face facing the exact same direction. And like with Candace Accola, she has a really big forehead, so I had to choose someone else that had a really big forehead to make sure that it matched. And of course I had to find a picture that didn't have hair all in her face, because I don't know if you know, but Candace Accola has a lot of pictures with hair in her face. And something I will not worry about, however, is the coloring, because I'm probably going to PSD the picture anyway, so I can kind of fix the coloring. The picture that I've found of Candace is right here. Her face is facing the same way. She doesn't have a lot of hair in her face. Her head is tilted, you know, pretty much the same way. Alright, so first, these pictures are huge. So what I have right here is my standard size, which is 500 by 610. And what I'm going to do is drag my first picture over here so that we can size it down properly. We've been getting a lot of applications at Vex lately. And something that I've noticed, the masses are squishing their pictures. So pay attention to this next part very carefully. Obviously, I have to scale this down. It's way too big. What I'm going to do is click Control and T at the same time. This is going to bring up my transform tools up top. And you can see the little line that's around my picture now. Most people will just kind of pull it down this way and push it over this way until they get it where they want it. And then it's going to end up being squished and distorted. And guys, please listen to me when I say that squished pictures, doesn't matter how amazing your editing is, squished pictures are not the way to go. They look like shit. Your friends might be like, oh, that's pretty. They're lying because they love you. Squished pictures look like shit. I cannot stress this enough in my tutorials. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control T again. Pull up my transform tools. I'm going to hold down my shift key before even pulling this corner. So I'm going to hold down my shift key and pull one corner down. That's it. Okay? And let go of the shift key, let go of the corner, pull it up, position it. Nope, that's not small enough. Hold down the shift key, pull the corner down. If you think that's not working, all you have to do is look right up here at your width and your height and make sure that they are damn near the same number. So let me show you. Okay, about 53% is good, right? So let's start over again. We're going to hit Control and T. What I can do is go ahead and type in my width, 53% of what it was, 53% of what the height was, and that's going to give me the even proportioned scale down. These numbers should always match this number with this number. They might be like 100th or 1/10 off. That's fine, but you don't want this to say 53 and then this to say like 43, because then it's squished. Stop squishing pictures, for the love of God, please. Okay, so I'm gonna click the check mark to accept the scale down. I'm pretty happy with that size wise. So now I'm gonna drag Candace over. Excuse me. Alright, obviously she's too big too. So first what I'm going to do, when I do a manipulation, I like lining up the eyes. If you line up the eyes, everything else should fall into place, unless you're working with like a difficult play-by, like Leah Pipes. She has that big man jaw. Nothing is ever going to line up properly with her unless you're manipulating her onto Cameron Diaz, because she has a man jaw too. Anyway, first what I'm going to do is bump down the opacity so I can see through Candace. So I'm going to go probably about 50% opacity, or fill, whatever. Control T. Okay. Let's do click, bitch, click. Why are you not clicking? Okay, 50 and 50. Okay, that's still a little big, so I'm going to hold my shift key and drag down one corner. That's it, one corner, until I can kind of line them up. You see Candace's face is still way too big. Holding down that shift key while I'm dragging. Alright, so there's their eyes. You see how you can't really tell whose eyes are who there because we have it lined up so nicely. On the overlay of Candace, I can still see she's still just a tad big. So Control T, hold the shift down just a little bit more. Accept that. And now I'm going to grab my move tool and use my arrow keys to line her up perfectly. Look at that. Okay. So now I'll bump back up the opacity. I'm going to choose my bottom layer, which is the picture I'm manipping onto. I'm going to hit Control and J, which is going to copy that layer. I'm going to pull this layer above Candace, okay? So now we can't really see her, but we know she's there. So what I'm going to do is click this little square with the empty circle in it, which is adding a layer mask. I'm going to click on that layer mask, choose a soft brush, make sure my black is selected in my colors down here because that's going to take away, and bump down my brush, zoom in, and basically just brush out her face and put on Candace's face. Now, as I said, the coloring is way off. Coloring is an issue that I can fix. If you can't fix it, you're probably going to want to choose pictures that are colored very similarly. Either that or choose a really dark PSD that is going to help you not be able to tell that it's all off with the coloring. Also, I'll go ahead and show you a few little tricks that I use personally to fix coloring too. Okay, so minus the coloring, we have a pretty good facial manipulation going here, right? So what I'm going to do, select the picture of Candace. What this picture has is a lot of blues and purples. So I'm going to go ahead and do, make sure the picture of your person is selected, not the person in the big picture, but the person you're manipulating onto this picture. Select it. Go to your adjustment layers down here, which is your half-filled circle. Let's do a solid color overlay. Pick a color from this picture. So I'm just going to drop my color dropper somewhere on the picture. And this is also going to show you any little imperfections where I missed. See that? I don't know if y'all can see it, but there are pieces that I missed. So I'm going to go through and get those. Alright. So we have a little color overlay. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to play with the blend modes until I find something that's just going to help match it up a bit and give her a little bit of a blue tint, not too much of a blue tint. So I don't really like any of those. Let me see. Okay, there's that one. We're going to bump down the fill so it's not so predominant. And then I'm going to click back on Candace, play with the curves, pull the curves down a bit, no, up a bit, no, none of those look good. Alright, I don't like the way this is turning out. But you know, this is just the way I will play with these colors until I can kind of get her matching on there. Obviously the brightness and contrast is way different on this picture of Candace Accola than it is on the Witches of East End poster. So let's mess with that and see if that can't help us any. There's a lot of contrast in this picture, so I want to bump up that contrast and kind of bump down the darkness a little bit. And then I'm going to go under that, pull down some of that vibrance because she's really orange. Now let's try our blue overlay. There we go. So that looks a little better. You can still definitely tell that it's a manip, but if we put a PSD on it, then it's not going to look so bad. First, what I'm going to do before PSD is my normal with Topaz Labs. I'm going to denoise. I used to use clean, but you guys, denoise just makes it so smooth. Everybody asks me, how do you get their skin so smooth? Denoise. So just bump it up until I see that it's all smooth and pretty. Click OK. I'm going to do the same with this image that I manipped her onto. I'm just going to use the same filter, so I'm going to hit Control F to repeat the filter. And then I like to sharpen it afterwards. So sharpen, go down to Candy's picture, Control F, sharpen that up too. Alright, so now what we want to do is choose a PSD that's going to make it hard to tell that, you know, she's got this orangeness to her, because let's face it, she looks pretty orange. Let me see, I'll try to choose one of my PSDs. The PSDs that I use most often, somebody asked me this the other day on Tumblr, what PSDs do I use to color my pictures? Well, I use a ton of different PSDs. I never say, okay, I'm going to use this PSD on every single picture. My favorite PSD maker is definitely going to be Prima Donna from High Times, or SB Coloring. I don't know if you follow her on Tumblr or roleplay.me, but either way, Prima Donna, I love her PSDs. Alright, so I'm going to drag this PSD, fine line over. And actually that looks pretty good if I can bump down the curves. So I'm going to click on Canvas again, go to my layer adjustments, go to curves, and bump her down until she matches, and check that out. What we have made here today is a perfect manipulation. There's no lines where her chin was that, you know, offset the whole thing. Her face is facing the exact same way. Oh god, that looks horrible after I did those curves on there. But anyway, it looks good on Candace's face, and that's all that matters. So hopefully this will help you guys. If you have any questions, never hesitate to shoot me an ask on Tumblr, or ask me on the site, or comment the video. I hope this helped you, and stay tuned because I will be making a few more. Thanks.